Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Wick here. I'm going to talk about some reasons why you might not be getting a lot of sales on eBay. Been seeing this pop up a lot in the comment section, people not getting sales. There's quite a few reasons for that. I'm going to go over some of them, kind of give you some tips on what you can do to improve the sales. I've been selling on eBay since the 90s, so I've been able to pick up some stuff over the years, I think. I've also had people send me messages where they want me to go to their eBay store, check it out, give them some tips on what can be improved. I was thinking about doing a video where I go over about 10 people's eBay stores. If you're open to constructive criticism and would like your store to be featured in a future video, maybe I'll do that. Just have at least 100 items at least listed so it's a good sample size, and just send me an Instagram message or an email with your store, and the first 10 people or so that do that, I'll make a video about it. But let's jump into why you might not be getting some sales on eBay. And I think what I have to talk about first is that some items just take a long time to sell. There's no getting around it. I've mentioned on my channel before, if you're selling shoes, you're selling clothing, it takes a special buyer to come along. They have to be willing to buy a pre-owned pair of shoes. They have to be their size, the style they want, and you have to have the best price usually on eBay, best condition, because there's going to be other people more than likely selling the same pairs of shoes at the same size. So there's a lot of things to consider. Some brands just aren't going to sell, right? So if you're listing brands that are commonly found at Kohl's or Walmart, that kind of stuff just isn't going to sell near as fast, or maybe even at all. Sometimes people do auctions. Of course, you can do an auction to get sales a lot quicker. But if you're doing auctions on shoes or something like that, chances are there's not going to be enough people looking for that style. Someone's going to pay like $1.99 or whatever you start the auction at. If it's a low enough price, they're going to buy them and probably sell them on eBay, or, just buy them because they're a good deal. There's people that do that. So just think when you buy stuff like this, certain items just take a long time to sell. You may be the only person listing a pair of shoes, no other listings. And by the time someone comes along, there's 2 or 3 other people already priced lower than you. So it's always good to go through and update your prices. A lot of times people don't consider that people don't want to pay shipping on top of the high prices. And again, if someone has a price lower than yours already, you got to wait till theirs sells before you really even have a chance, unless you're going to do some promoting, which I'll talk about promoting items later in the video. But it's good to go through your store every now and then and check prices. If you have a really good item and you know it's good, look at it and say, why isn't this selling? Maybe do a research again and be like, oh, there's more people now selling it and theirs is priced lower. Some of the sold comps for the same item is priced lower, so it is selling, but my price is just obviously too high. And I mentioned high prices with high shipping. Shipping prices is probably the biggest flaw I see when I look at people's eBay stores. Shipping is very confusing, especially to new sellers. Even somebody has been shipping for as long as I have. Shipping can still be confusing. So the best thing you can do, I've said before, I've had separate videos about shipping if you want to go check those out. But anything over £1, I think if you're new, you just need to do calculated shipping. You weigh the item, you figure out the dimensions it's going to take to ship, you put in the accurate information. If it's a smaller item, you can add £1 for the packaging and the box and stuff. Larger, maybe upwards to £2, but it's better to just have accurate calculated shipping so the buyer's always paying, the exact amount. You can also go in, you get a shipping discount on eBay. There's an option inside of the eBay settings where you can have the shipping discount go directly to the buyer, which is going to make your items appear more attractive because the shipping is going to be lower for them. Of course, you can also price the item lower and just take the discount yourself. That also is attractive to a buyer when they see a lower price. But I see some people, they'll sell something like a golf bag. They'll have priority mail shipping and it's like $88, which, priority mail is just too much. You got to do something like UPS where the box size can be larger with less shipping, and then it ends up being like $28 to $35 usually for a buyer. And I've sold a few golf bags and I see people pricing the shipping just too high, and it's just an easy fast sale for me because my shipping's like $40 to $50 less than theirs. Also, free shipping always comes up. Free shipping doesn't matter that much. If it's under £1, I do free shipping, and then I think that helps with sales. But if you're selling an item that's $20 and you're doing free shipping, and someone else is selling an item that's $20 and they're doing calculated shipping, obviously the buyer is going to buy the one with free shipping, right? So you would have to price yours like $9.99 plus shipping, which does not look near as attractive for smaller dollar items, smaller weight items. And it's pretty safe. Pretty much anywhere in the country is going to cost about $6 or less, a pound or less. So I think that's necessary to get those smaller sales. Now, if it's £2, I still do calculated shipping. Some items maybe I'll price lower because again, people are not going to pay that shipping cost on top of the cost of the item unless it's an extremely good item, right? And then it's going to sell anyway. Another issue I see if people are just taking bad pictures. Pictures are extremely important. That's the thing that people are going to look at first. You need a good impression. Sometimes people take pictures of an item and it's not cropped, so it's very tiny, like in the background. Sometimes the pictures are blurry. There's not enough lighting. I always recommend using a photo box or, being where an area is well lit from the sunlight, it's even better. Of course, I use the Amazon Basics photo box. I've done videos on that in the past. Link in the description for all that stuff that I use. And most people have a good enough camera on their phones nowadays, but you can also purchase a good enough secondary camera to take the pictures. I think pictures are part of the description. Always take pictures of the damage. Each corner, each side. You don't want buyers to think that you're trying to hide something. I've tried to buy board games on eBay before to flip on Amazon, and they'll just take one picture of the front of the board game. It's like I need to see every corner, make sure that the wrap isn't torn, not dented, stuff like that. So if I see a listing like that, it's just an instant pass for me. I don't have time to try to message the buyer and get more pictures. One of the big reasons why your items aren't selling, and I'm going to be completely honest, is you're selling junk. Sometimes I look at people's eBay stores and I'm just like, why is this even listed? It's something that I don't think anyone would ever buy, and it'll be priced like $4.99 plus shipping or something, and after fees and what you got into it, even if you're getting these items free, the stuff's usually not going to sell. And everybody makes bad buys. I do as well. I have some items on my eBay store that they've been listed for years at this point. The only reason I don't remove them is because it's not costing me anything to have them on there, and maybe they will sell at some point. I've already got the work into them, but if I ever need to remove them, they're the first items to go. But in my opinion, it's just worth sourcing more and trying to find better items. Not every item is going to sell on eBay. Not every item is worth selling on eBay. And of course, not every item is going to sell on eBay because just the cost it takes for shipping. Now, if you're doing eBay local, some of these things maybe you could flip. You're still paying a fee. You still have to have someone come to your house and all that. I don't think it's worth it, but there's certain items that people just are looking for on eBay, and other things, people just don't buy. They'll just buy them on Amazon or something. Here's one that a lot of people aren't going to like, but one of the reasons you're not getting sales is because you're not offering returns, and it's completely up to you if you want to offer returns, right? And I've mentioned before that all someone has to do is claim that the item's not as described, and eBay is going to force you to return it anyway. So in my opinion, I think it's better just to offer returns. Me personally, if I'm buying clothing or something on eBay, even like a video game or something that I might want, if they don't offer returns, it's just I'm not buying, right? I'm not going to deal with something being wrong and have to deal with trying to return something, even knowing I can do a return anyway. Then eBay will force them to return it if something is wrong. I'd rather just go to Amazon and buy something, or find a seller that's willing to give me a return and work with me, right? And I think a lot of sellers do think that way. They see no returns and they're like, what are you trying to pull on me? It's not worth the risk. I'll just buy from someone else. There's so much competition on eBay. I think if you're offering returns, you're at least being able to compete with a lot of them. And if you don't want to offer returns, that's fine, but I do think it's one of the reasons you're not getting as many sales. Bad titles is another big reason. Sometimes you just see 2 or 3 word titles, no capitalization, misspelled words, not really explaining the item, not having information in the description of how long something is or how wide something is. People are lazy. If they need to know the length of something that requires knowing the length, they're just not going to send you a message and ask, most likely. You should take pictures of the condition a lot on an item, like if you have a spot of damage, but you need to mention it in the description as well, because people don't enlarge the photos and look or notice things. And just always think about yourself as being the buyer, or what you would want. You would want as much information as possible. You don't want any surprises, right? Also in the title, you should be using keywords for items. Like I've mentioned, the barn jackets, chore jackets, kind of the canvas jackets people wear, just adding that kind of stuff, workwear. Just take some time to think about it, because it does matter. People are looking for chore jackets. They're more than likely to find yours, right? Because eBay's searches are mostly going off of the titles. I think there's a way to search within the description as well. I usually don't try to optimize the description keywords, but if I can't fit something in the title, I will put it in the description. Another way you can get some sales is to turn on best offers. Me personally, I don't like doing this. I actually turned them off because I have so many items listed. I was just getting lowball offers all day long. By having them on, you're going to eventually get someone that offers you a fair price. and you can sell it. eBay also has some features where if somebody's watching your item, you can send out an offer to people who are watching it. This is a great way to increase sales. There's promotional things like coupons and sales you can run if you have an eBay store. So all of that will increase sales. None of it is particularly necessary to get sales. Again, it's always about the item quality and price more than anything else. But it does help when there's a lot of other people, there's a lot of competition on these items. Just giving the buyer one extra reason to buy from you instead of someone else will make a load of difference. And even having best offers turned off like I do, because you don't want to deal with the constant messages all day. People will still send you messages asking you to take a lower price. And sometimes I'll get a sane message where I just sold a pair of shoes I had listed for $110. Today, someone sent me a message saying, would you take $100? And right in the message system, you can send an offer directly to them and they can buy it, which they did. But a lot of times I'll have, a $100 pair of shoes listed and I'll get an offer for $20, right? So just be prepared to deal with that. Don't be too quick to just take a lowball offer just because you want a sale. If you got a good item, if the item's sat for a while and you're ready to sell it, maybe that will be a great choice for you. So in my opinion, that's some of the biggest reasons why you're not getting sales. So if you want to fix these problems, start with adjusting prices. Price matters. Even if you have a bad title, a bad description, if you're selling a great item and the price is great, someone's going to buy it very quickly. Work on the quality of your items. You can't expect sales to happen just because you list something on eBay. It has to be a good item that people want and are willing to buy. Do the proper research. If you're not researching properly, when you buy something, like if you buy a pair of shoes, you look on there, the same style, there's 50 of them listed and there's 0 sold comps. Yours is never going to sell. You can do some eBay promoting on your items. I don't recommend most of it. Running ads, I don't think is worthwhile unless you're selling an item where you have like hundreds of the same item and it's kind of like a wholesale item. Obviously that kind of stuff is good. Or you have some really high-end item that you want people to find who are looking for a certain type of that item. But there's another promotion that's called just eBay promotions, I think. I usually do 2% ad on that on every item I list. I have done some kind of split testing, and from what I've noticed, that just gets me more sales, and I think it's worth paying an extra 2% on some of the items where that gets triggered. If you're doing it in auctions, obviously you're getting a lot of sales because the stuff usually gets a bid and sells, but you can do promotions on the listings for like a couple bucks or something like that, and sometimes that's worthwhile if you have a good auction that's going to be going up. But really, you don't need to promote anything. It's just more important to have a good item at a good price and fair shipping. That's always going to be the best thing to get you sales. Offering returns on top of that, you're just going to win. Try offering free shipping as much as you can, but I wouldn't recommend doing it so much because higher weight items shipping across the country is going to cost quite a bit of money and you can get some surprise charges. But if you're shipping something that will fit in a priority mail, like polybag, that's like $8.32 to ship, you can factor that into the price and that's the most that you're going to end up spending. That comes with experience, so trying to get all that to work together and understanding how much it's going to cost to ship items. So shipping items, £1 or less free shipping, I think is a great choice. Another thing you can consider doing is international shipping. You can opt into this or opt out if you want. International shipping sounds scary to a lot of people just because shipping, like I said, is kind of complex, but it's actually really good on eBay. When you sell something internationally, someone buys it and then you ship it to an eBay facility where they will then ship it to the buyer. They take care of customs and all of that. So it feels just like you're shipping normally to anyone else in the country. And you also have some extra protections. If your package makes it to the eBay facility and they ship it to the buyer and then it gets lost, eBay will refund the buyer. eBay will remove any negative feedback from international orders as long as it's not your fault. I've had that happen a few times and eBay has taken care of it. So I'm definitely a believer in the international shipping, and just having that active, you're going to get so many more sales. I would say at least 15% of my sales are international orders. At one point, it felt like it was maybe 25 to 30%. Seemed like every sale was an international order. There's also cross-listing. That's going to get you a lot more sales. If you list something on eBay and then you list it on Poshmark, and then you list it on Etsy, then you list it on Mercari. Of course, not every item can be listed on every selling site, but say you're selling a pair of shoes and you list it on eBay and then you cross-list it to all these other platforms. You're just exposing it to a lot of people, because there's a lot of people who will not buy on eBay, but they'll buy on Mercari, or they'll buy on Poshmark, maybe even Facebook Marketplace. And it's a lot of work to do that, but if you use a program like Prime Lister, which is what I've used and talked about on the channel before, I even have a video on it somewhere, I have a link in the description. I believe with the link, you still get a free trial on that. Then there's a monthly fee. I can't even remember what it is, but if you're selling a lot of shoes and clothing and stuff that can be cross-list, just give it a shot, because it will increase your sales for sure. And the biggest thing I can end this video with is just be patient. I've talked about how long it takes me to sell some stuff. Sometimes I wait a year or more for shoes to sell. Sometimes I buy collectibles that take a year, sometimes up to 2 years to sell. And I don't suggest, when you're doing research, buying something where you look at it and it's like, oh, this is going to take 2 or 3 years to sell. But you look at some stuff you're getting really cheap and you say, that's long tail. That's going to take some time to sell. More than likely, it's going to take the right buyer. I got $1 into it. I'm selling it for $50, right? It's worth the wait. It's worth being patient to try to flip something like that. People make fun of me a lot when I say I sold something and it sat for a year. They say, why would I ever sell something where I have to wait a year to sell it, right? Everyone's going to be different. If I'm listing a bunch of shoes today, this might take a year to sell. I've already listed last year a bunch of shoes that are going to take a year to sell, right? So they're all selling throughout the year, and I'm getting consistent sales that way. If you're looking for fast money, I don't know if eBay is right for you, right? At least on a grand scale. Of course, you can always find great treasures at a yard sale cheap, and if it's a good item, it will sell very quickly if you price it right. I have sales sometimes that happen instantly, within 24 hours, within a week, within a month, and at the same time I'm selling things I've listed last year. So again, I'm always have sales coming in. But I think that's going to do it for the video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully it helps some people. Maybe you can review your eBay listings and apply some of this stuff in the future. Consider doing calculated shipping, getting your shipping prices down. Offering the buyer the eBay shipping discount is a great way to do that. Take a photo of every angle of the item you're selling so people can see exactly what they're getting. Offer those free returns, because people are going to return stuff if they really want to. But if you did enjoy this video, hit that like button for me on the way out. I really appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, flipping_junk. And this has been Wick. Till next time.